God, it's so hot in here already. Oh my God. I was wearing pajamas underneath my dress because it was just a work call. So it just had to like look nice. I didn't actually have to be nice. And then I came in this room and the first thing I did was take my pants off. And then Jason came in to try and help me. And he was like, why are there pants on the desk? He's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know, stuff. Okay.
When Jake comes home from work, he takes all of his clothes off except for his underwear, like on hot days. Just immediately he comes home, so I had to get him I could only complain about it so much. So I had to get him a living room. Essentially, I got a cute basket that looks like it's meant for the living room, but it's a laundry basket for the living room.
Wow. Like
I was like, I can't pick this up anymore. And I've now learned that you cannot find it in yourself to be able to pick it up yourself.
So he's that fast about it.
It's there. Yeah. It's just right there. And so I was like, I know that you can take this upstairs at the end of the night, but when you need to take your clothes off immediately after coming home from work, there's nothing I could do about it. So here you go.
Wow. That's crazy. That's funny.
That was my compromise.
Love it. Okay. I think we're ready to go. You ready?
Yes.
Did you do your 5 things?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. I did too. I almost forgot.
Me too.
All right. Why are these on different screens? What is happening here? Oh my God. Everything's so weird. Okay. Here we go. No, apparently not. Just kidding. Okay. Yeah. Whoops. Here we go. We'll actually start this time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Great. I'm starting over. Oh, wait. Not like that. God, it's like it's our first day. Jesus. Okay, here we go. All right, everyone. Welcome to House Meeting Podcast. I almost said Ears Up Podcast. That's the other one. This one is the better one because I am the host. This is House Meeting Podcast. We are a podcast about Big Brother. And today's episode is, of course, about the live feeds. But we only have, 5 people left? 6?
Five people left.
There's 5 people left. What are they going to talk about on the feeds that's going to be exciting? Nothing. Except one thing. I do have one thing. So, while this is a spoiler alert, it's not really. You can go ahead and listen to this. I don't think we're going to spoil much for you. Also, it's Thursday, so everything's already happened that we already know about. So, go ahead and listen to this one. It'll be fun. So because not a lot goes on the feeds, we've sort of like shifted what this show is kind of about now. And now it's a little bit more about comparison or historical Big Brother. So what we're doing is we're going to watch a popular or famous episode of Big Brother, I think each week, and then discuss it and relate it to Big Brother 22 or not, or just talk about how dumb these people are or how smart they are or blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of what we're doing today. If you want to listen to that and more, go ahead and find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Please, please rate us. It really, really helps, especially because there are a lot of Big Brother podcasts out there. And I'm not going to lie, I think we're one of the good ones. So go and let your friends know that we are one of the good ones. We are also on YouTube. We are currently on YouTube. If you want to go there, you can join the chat. You can see us record live. I told a funny little story about taking my pants off earlier. I mean, you might get some gems like that. If you have feedback for the show, if you don't want to hear about my pants being on a desk, then go ahead and email us at housemeetingpodcast@gmail.com and let us know what you like and what you don't like about us. And lastly, of course, we are on Patreon. So if you are enjoying listening to us, go ahead and drop us a, you know what? Forget about pennies. Drop us a dime. You know, we're here. We're doing
maybe
this for you.
Than that, maybe.
Hey, I mean, whatever. A dime, oh, I was going to say a nickel. That's going the wrong way. Anyway,
10 cents, maybe a little bit more than that.
go ahead and drop us a couple quarters if you can. We would love it. Podcasts are not free to put on. And if you're loving us, we love you too. Show us your support. Patreon.com/housemeeting. So Ellen, I think we should first talk about the one thing that happened on the feeds this week that I saw, which we've made a little game out of it because why not? So Memphis and Christmas supposedly, possibly kissed. Okay.
I can't believe it.
I
can't even believe that there's. I don't even know whether it's true or not, but I just can't believe that there's even a rumor that it's even a possibility that it's true. Is so crazy.
Well, it's because our society loves conspiracy theories. I'm going to just say it. There is no possible way that this is true. Anybody that thinks so, you're just so wrong. Like, why would... First of all,
I disagree with you.
Are you kidding
so
me?
Whatever insult you're going to give.
Oh, my God. They're not 12.
They are wearing mics that pick up when they whisper 100% of the time besides this one moment.
Yeah.
That's the part that's confusing to me.
Because they were sleeping. They don't have to wear their mics when they're sleeping.
You can hear them whispering as they're talking to each other. And they do wear their mics when they're sleeping.
I don't think so. I think they have them hanging from above.
I think that they were wearing their mics, and I think you could hear them talking from their mics as she's walking up, as she's walking away, after whatever happened.
Yeah, so she's...
And you hear a sound, but you don't hear... You hear a mouth sound, but you don't hear any talking.
Oh, my God.
I'm not saying I think it makes sense that they kissed. I'm not saying I think they have a showmance. I'm saying I don't know what happened, but I don't think they were just whispering.
If they don't have a showmance, then why are they kissing? They both have
significant... I think it was like a dare. I think they were like joking around about it. I think they like have a little crush on each other and it was kind of like a joke or something. But I didn't hear whispering there, so I don't see how it could have been that. But I guess this leads into our
So what we decided to do is we each came up with 5 things that this could have been besides a kiss. So if you're not up to date with the feeds, basically what happened is it's nighttime. I don't even know what time it was. It's pitch black in the room. Memphis is in one bed. Christmas is in another bed. Christmas gets out of bed, walks over to Memphis's bed, like pulls away the covers, but like buries her head inside, does something, and then closes it, and then goes back to her bed.
You skipped a step there, which is part of why I think that this might have been a kiss.
Okay.
You skipped the step where she said, "It's so dark, I can't find your face." And then she goes under the covers. I'm sorry, but it's an important part.
That is very important. I didn't hear that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the audio on it, she walks over and she says, "It's so dark, I can't see your face."
Okay.
I can't find your face. And then it happens, you hear a mouth sound, you don't hear whispering. Then she walks away and he goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And she's like, "You can't believe it? You need me to do it again?" Or she says something like that.
All right, we're going to just have to pull this up.
Yeah, there's some audio that's part of the storyline here.
Oh my God. Okay. Everyone that's watching on YouTube, please just bear with me for a minute. I will cut this out of the regular show, but we're going to have to find video of this because it's highly important. Okay. I think I've got it. Let's see. Why does this video not have sound? Do I have to push it? That's stupid.
It's on, here, I can find the one that I saw.
Why doesn't it have sound? That's dumb. No, I don't want more replies. This is really, really good. Oh, here we go.
Good content.
Very good content. Okay. Why am I not getting any...
No sound?
No sound.
Here, I'll send you the one that I watched.
Well, no, I think it's the computer. I don't think it's...
Oh.
For some reason, it's not like. I wonder why it worked. This worked.
Okay, I'm watching it.
Oh,
right
you know
now.
why? I have it muted. I'm hella stupid. Okay, hang on. I've got it here. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna listen. Ready?
Tell me.
No, now I'm self-conscious about it.
Now.
Wait, I think that was the very end.
How long have you been waiting for that?
I thought you were gonna tell me something good.
Okay.
And then get some good.
I can't see your face. Where are you? How is it so dark? What do you think about that?
What do you think about that? That's what she said.
Okay. It's weird. I still do not think it's a kiss. So there is another theory, and I wasn't sure how I could even say this, but there's a theory that Christmas was having fun with herself, and that in the room, and that Memphis sort of caught her. And then that was, or something happened, and that was her telling Memphis that that's what she was doing, which sort of tracks with what what we heard. To me, that tracks more than a kiss. I still don't understand. They're not 12. Like, why is she going over there to give him like a small kiss? And then I don't know. It's just weird. But anyway, it could be true. I don't know. But what we decided,
I think people go actual bananas in the house. And so that's what I don't chalk it up to be a romance. I chalk it up to be you are in this house and you become chilled, like your brain gets mushed into being a kid.
okay,
Like you have nothing. It's like there's nothing going on, you know? And so there's except for like your imagination and like your crushes within your house. And
yeah.
that's why I don't think it's a romance. Like I don't think they're like sparking a romance. That's what I mean by doesn't feel like a showmance to me. I think like it was like a weird dare or something. And
Okay.
given the lack of live feeds we've seen, maybe there was a moment where they were like kind of joking about it that we didn't get before. I don't know.
Maybe. So what Ellen and I did is we each came up with 5 other things that it could have been besides a kiss between Memphis and Christmas. So I think we'll just go back and forth. Ellen, you go ahead and go first.
Okay. Number 1, she was making him check her breath.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Maybe Memphis kept farting and Christmas wanted to smell it.
On his face. Number 2 is, well, my number 2 and 4 kind of go together, or 2 and 3 kind of go together.
Okay, you can do them both.
So I'm going to do them together. Number 2 is she was whispering, "You may not think so, but I'm not the one leaving this week." And
Okay.
number 3 is she was giving him one of those European cheek kisses where you go like on
Okay.
the sides of their cheek, to like symbolically say goodbye, Memphis. You're going home.
Okay. Okay. My number 2 is maybe Christmas wanted to let Memphis know that she would make him breakfast in the morning.
That's very nice.
I'll go ahead and do my next one. Or maybe maybe Memphis asked Christmas earlier who should leave the Big Brother house next, and Christmas was finally answering.
No, who do you think she was answering?
I don't know. I haven't been watching. I'm just kidding. Cody.
My number 4 is she was telling him a secret, perhaps. Psst, I was once arrested and charged with a felony while I was pregnant.
Yeah, that's a good one. I thought maybe Christmas wanted to tell Memphis that Nicole's voice is the worst.
That's, yeah.
I mean,
That tracks.
she wouldn't be wrong.
My last one is she was giving him purely platonic Eskimo kisses.
Okay, that's I
Something I've never done before, but
right, but you never know. Maybe, and this is my last one. Christmas farted and wanted to
Oh.
tell Memphis.
yeah.
It could be,
Or maybe it was that other theory.
or that other one.
Honestly, no matter what it is, it's weird and they are a little flirty.
They're definitely flirty. I have such a hard time believing that they could have possibly kissed because, for one, they're just not 12. Like you said, maybe they went nuts, and that's kind of what's happening. But also, like, gross. The last two people that I want to see in a showmance or make out or even on my screen ever is Memphis and Christmas. So I really hope that it's that one of them farted, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the platonic Eskimo kisses.
Yeah. Well, and so that's what happened on the feeds.
That's what happened on the feeds.
So
No real spoilers there.
Nope. And honestly, no real truth because we don't actually know either. Maybe
I wonder if they'll do anything with it on the show.
if there was a kiss.
If there was a kiss,
Oh,
yeah, it will be part
100%.
of the show.
Oh, for sure, because Big Brother or CBS like lives off of that. So
CBS lives off of destroying relationships
They really
outside
do.
of the Big
It's
Brother
like,
house.
yeah, and that wasn't like a thing this season. So if they have even an ounce of it, they're going for it.
Yeah.
So what we did instead, I mean, not instead, I guess we also kept up with the feeds, but I only need to hear Cody talk about his family so often. So
Yes.
we decided to watch an episode of quite famous veto ceremony. We watched season 3, episode 27, which is Marcella? What am I
Marcellus.
My thing auto corrects to Marcella every time. So I'm going to say it wrong every time. Marcellus makes the dumbest move in Big Brother history. And I think he still holds that title. Some people have gotten close, but I think he might hold that title. So
arguably Cody bringing Derek to the final 2 was a really dumb decision.
it was dumb, but I think Cody knew he wasn't going to win. I think Cody was there for Derek's friendship.
Against the other girl was, I forgot what her name was, but she was
Victoria.
The person that Victoria, she didn't win anything. If he had brought her, he would have hands down won.
I didn't say that. I wasn't saying,
Oh.
I think he didn't care about winning. He cared more about his friendship with Derek at that point than $500,000.
Still think it was a mistake.
Because also, I think
that's the mistake.
well, that's the
You're
no,
dumb.
100%. I agree with you. But I also think Cody was I think Cody went in there wanting to come out a model, and he wanted to come out being very liked. So I think he kind of like threw it to his best friend. That's a theory.
Yeah, but that being said, that doesn't change. It's still a mistake because Derek has said afterwards that he wouldn't have taken Cody.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Derek is a lot
like,
smarter.
ugh.
Yeah,
Somehow they're still friends.
yeah, and it is still a dumb move.
But yes, Marcel, this is inarguably the
Well,
dumbest
and I
one.
think Tyler did the same thing because didn't Tyler took Casey to the final 2 and then she won. Didn't that happen?
Yeah, I don't know who else was there though.
I forget, but Casey and Tyler were definitely the 2 best that I could remember. Anyway, so this was an episode where Marcellus. Oh no, it's gonna be.
It helps because his name is Marcellus Wallace.
Marcellus Wallace. I gotta just
So
write it
his
down.
name rhymes with the same.
Oh, God.
Not really rhymes, but has the same
Marcellus.
ending as his last. His
'Cause
first name is the same ending as his last name.
What it corrected it to is Marcella '*S.
Marcellus.
So that's why I'm going to say it wrong every time, and it's going to be so annoying to edit. But okay, so Marcellus makes the dumbest move in Big Brother history, and what that is, it's almost much more complicated than I thought. The story I've always heard, I probably watched this episode, but I was very young and not caring as much. So what he basically did was he was on the block, he won the power of veto, and he didn't use it on himself. and then he ended up going home. So that's the one sentence version of what happened. I wouldn't say a lot more happened, but
Yeah, it was also for the people who are going to listen after this, it was an hour without commercials. It was an hour and 25 minutes long because it was a whole week in one episode.
yeah,
It's very interesting.
it was weird. I did not like it.
I didn't like it. I didn't understand what was happening. There were a lot of differences that actually, because the last time that we did this, I loved the episode we watched so much
Yeah.
that it made me hate the current season we're watching even more. And this one, I was like, oh no, they're better at making this show now than they were then, at least.
100%. Yeah. I mean, they've really tightened up the show. This show was drawn out. It was very soap opera-y, soporific.
Yeah.
And it was so like even the nominations were like 5 minutes long.
It took so long. Yeah.
I was just, and then watching the veto competition was like 20 minutes. And I was just
Imagine how long it would have to be if they did a triple eviction in this season.
dude, it would be like a
5-hour
seriously,
episode.
totally. I mean, it was kind of crazy. So at this point, it was a good episode for us to watch because there were 5 people in the house, which was cool because that's where we're at in our house. What I thought was very interesting and very noticeable is that there were 2 people of color still left in the house.
Yep.
And it was actually very nice to see. Sorry. Pause. Strange man walking up to the door. Just curious. So there were 2 people of color in the house, and I thought that was awesome to see. And it was a different house, which threw me so hard. I couldn't even concentrate on the content of the show for like the first 20 minutes because I was trying to figure out this house. It was so poorly designed. And like
It was weird because parts of it were the same, but then parts of it were different. So like maybe it was the same lot, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't what the house is now. Whereas the season we watched before, season 6, is that what we watched last time?
I don't know.
I think it was season 6. And it was exactly the same house, just with different design. And this one was like, oh, where
Yeah.
are we?
There were like a lot of hallways. It wasn't very open. It was very, very 90s looking, even though it was 2002.
It made me appreciate like the wacko design that they have in all the current seasons. Cause I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like when you have just like a normal wood dresser in one of these rooms on this show. Like it just looks terrible and like messy and cluttery. But if you just make the whole room look like you're in Nickelodeon world, then it kind of, your eyes distracted and you don't notice they're like dirty laundry on the floor somehow.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because this house was so plain, it was like a real house. Like, I think one of the bedrooms had like a purple wall, but
Yeah.
there was like nothing on it. There was just the windows where they have the cameras and stuff. But like, I was like, all I can see is like all of your guys' crap.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're right. Now I understand. Just like you said, like that's why they have these busy walls. It's to hide everybody's crap.
Yeah, because they don't have a maid coming in there to like clean up all their stuff. And like they
Yeah.
certainly very rarely clean up. So
Yeah,
there's really no other way around it, I guess.
well, and one of the weirdest parts is like from the living room where they do like the ceremonies, there's a window to outside to the
Yeah.
backyard. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not the same house.
This is
Where
weird.
am
Yeah.
I? Is this like Big Brother Canada? Like I was so blown away because I did not realize that they changed houses ever. It was very
Yeah,
weird.
It was really strange.
But anyway, beyond that,
The announcer
oh.
was different.
the announcer was very
I
weird.
hated it. I hated
it
it.
was-
I didn't realize.
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't
not the
realize
same
that announcer
guy.
wasn't there forever. It was terrible.
It was terrible. And they did a food comp.
Yes.
So
miss food comps.
I kind of forgot about this where they had to work for their food. They didn't just get all this vegan food all the time, which there's no way the food comps would come back because people are vegan and they can't eat all this stuff. So like if they didn't win their food comp, they had to eat PB&J all week or whatever. That's how it worked out. This food comp was kind of amazing because it was just like, well, you eat this, and if you eat this in a minute, then you get to have food for the week or food for a day or whatever. And they were things like pig's feet and escargot, poi, haggis, jungle curry, which sounded great, but I think it was just very, very spicy.
Yeah.
And so 4 of the house guests were competing in this thing to try and win themselves a week of food or a day of food or whatnot. And Jason, who was the HOH, was not able to play because they were in teams of 2. So he got to, I think, just accept the rewards of whatever was won. Well, these people all were so like, they just couldn't handle their lives, and they couldn't even take a bite without puking. And so they had to go the entire week with PB&J. And my favorite part was that Jason, he was kind of at the head of the table and kind of managing the whole comp. And at the end of the thing, like, you could tell he was being very positive. I actually really liked him.
I liked him too.
Yeah, he was
very, very nice man, it seems like.
very sweet. And he was being very complimentary and very like encouraging, like, just take another bite. You got it. You're almost there. Like, he was really encouraging. But then at the end of the competition, when now he had to also be on PB&J for the entire week, you could tell that he was disappointed, and he went to all of the dishes that they had to eat, and he took a bite of each one. And I think to determine for himself that, like, had he been playing, this would have been different.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it's kind of a power move, really.
It was, but like, it's like the power move that this nice of a man makes. Like, it was like, I don't even know if anybody else really noticed all that much. He just kind of was like, I just need to do this for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't remember him being that sweet of a guy. That was like the most jarring part of this whole episode.
Yeah.
Was that like the guy that kind of, in photos, when I see photos of this season, he looks like he might be the jock guy that runs the house. But he's actually kind of like a little like sweet, a little bit maybe doofusy, kind of like, he's not like a jockey guy at all. And it was really jarring because you don't really have, now I think part of what I learned from this is they cast too buff of guys.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue with the recent seasons. Like, maybe that gender thing, the thing we were talking about a few episodes back where we were discussing like whether they kind of have competitions that favor guys more than girls.
Yeah.
And I think that they could solve that pretty easily by just not casting guys. Like, the guys that they cast, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen someone that buff in person before.
Right.
And then there's like 3 of them. And I'm like, what is this? You don't need to do this.
Yeah. Do you remember? Oh my God, I can't remember his name, but they had a showmance. He looked like the Hulk, and he had a showmance with that chick with the enormous boobs and like the big lips. It was like a couple seasons ago. His name was like Mike or Matt or like
Matt. I want to say everybody's yelling.
I know, they're so mad right now
because it was a recent season.
I know, it was like 2 seasons ago.
I do remember.
So large. I mean, he literally looked like the Hulk, but he had this little baby face. And where do you find this person?
I've never seen people who look like this. And so that's why I'm like, isn't this show like, maybe for Survivor that makes sense, you know? Because it's kind of like, that's like the theme kind of is like people who are super tough.
Yeah.
But like, why do we need that for just like regular Big Brother? Like, isn't it just supposed to be regular people in a house?
Well, and that's the thing. I think that where it's gone maybe south, and I haven't really like thought about this theory all that much, but is that they're trying to turn it into a physical competition when this show is supposed to be more mental.
Yes. Yeah.
And if they kept it at more mental, they wouldn't need to look for these super, super stacked guys. And like, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean,
that's why I liked this veto competition. I guess I'm kind of skipping.
No, go for it. We should get back on track.
I liked this veto competition. It was basically, I don't know if I can describe it perfectly, but it wasn't the order that they were eliminated that they had to step on the faces.
Yes.
It was something like that. Yeah. So on the ground was like this grid of all of the house guests' faces, including people who were eliminated. And you had to step on there was like what do you call them?
Oh, lasers.
Lasers. There were laser beams everywhere, and you had to avoid the lasers while stepping on the house guests' faces in the order that they were eliminated.
Yeah.
So they were like, it was both mental, also physical. And it was just like you could easily make a mistake. Like I've said before, I like games like that where it kind of rolls the dice a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting, and I thought that was a really good game. And it was so simple because obviously the show at this point was really low budget. You could tell by a lot of things. They wrote things down on a whiteboard. They didn't have screens that had the scores. Like it was really low budget. And yet this game was better than some of the games I've seen this season.
Totally.
So I don't know. It was kind of interesting. And it's stuff like that in combination with guys like this guy, Jason, who's like a handsome guy. I get wanting to cast good-looking people on your show. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But to cast all buff guys is a whole different thing. And like this guy was handsome. He was likable. He could fit that like whatever
and I don't
superhero role you want to fill as CBS, but he wasn't a buff guy.
Well, and he seemed what seemed the most awesome to me was that he seemed to be the most aligned with, like, I think he had a final two with Danielle, who is a person of color. So this jockey guy has a final two with the black girl, which you don't ever see anymore. And
because they cast like jerky buff white guys only. It's like
so that was very awesome to see, and I was like, wow, like this is what I want to see.
And it was interesting too because both Danielle and Marcellus, the two black people in the house, weren't aligning with each other. And the only reason that has to happen in modern episodes is because everybody's going against the people of color in the house. So they have to band together.
Right.
And so then it makes one side of the house versus it's like,
and
that didn't have to happen in this season because that clearly just wasn't really a factor.
No, Danielle was actively trying to get Marcellus out, which was so unique from what we see now. So
I also really loved the alliance between Danielle and Jason, this jockey guy we're talking about, because they are also polar opposites in the sense that Danielle is clearly, and I know this from other seasons too, like she is focused in the game and she is like a quiet player. She doesn't try to like start a whole lot up unless she really needs to. She plays it cool. She knows what she's doing. She's calculated. And she's not afraid to lie and cheat and steal in order to get her way to the end.
Totally.
Whereas Jason is just this like big old sweetheart that like couldn't even bring it in him to put people to like nominate two people. He had to like profusely apologize for just like doing the thing that you're supposed to do as HOH.
Yeah.
And together, like what an interesting duo to watch. I just thought it was great.
Totally. So they had the comp, of course, and I should mention this. They kept calling it the golden veto. And I guess usually the veto was silver. This is what I gathered. They didn't explain this, but this is what I gathered. The veto that they are used to playing is silver, and it allows you to take somebody else off the block, not yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're on the block and you win it, you just wouldn't use it, I guess. Like, it's very, very strange. Or maybe
you'd use it
to
if
get somebody
your
bigger.
alliance member was on the block, or you'd use it if you think they would put someone up that was maybe more of a target than you or something.
Yeah. It was very strange, but I guess this was the last veto of the year for this season, and they made it the golden power of veto, which is what we know now. That's all they get. So the winner of this power of veto was able to save themselves or somebody else or not use it. So that's what we were used to. But when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, that's strange. So I guess that was kind of a twist for them. That was kind of cool. So after this comp that Ellen described, Marcellus won it kind of by a long shot. I mean, by a lot. So he did very good in this competition. And the first thing I thought is like, well, there's no point in him not using it. So like, I don't understand how this episode happens.
Yeah, because the whole episode he's complaining about being on the block and he's just like, I can't believe it. He wronged me. I can't believe he did this. Like and he's worried about his place in the house. And then at one point, all of a sudden, he's just like,
well, and so
yeah.
I think one factor is that it was a live veto ceremony.
Yeah.
So and Julie even pointed this out to him, that maybe he changed his mind very quickly without quite thinking about it. Like he was obviously going to use it, and then he changed his mind. And I had a theory, and I don't know how valid this theory would be, but this season took place less than a year after 9/11. And in fact, you actually see them wearing several t-shirts that say 9/11, that have the flag on them, all of these things. So Americans were in this very proud place. They were in a place in history where they were wanting to take care of each other. Like, think the exact opposite of where we're at now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wanted to take care of each other, take care of Americans as a community. Everything was a community. We were kind of all one, like all of 2002, I think. And there was a lot of trust. And I'm wondering if maybe some of that just sort of concept seeped into his decision, and he didn't want to come across on TV as selfish. He wanted to come across as, I am here for our community of these 5 Big Brother people. Now, of course, we'll never know, but it was just something I thought about.
And in combination with, if you try to think back, which it's hard to even put your mindset in this place, but to where the veto never was meant to be used on yourself. It's a thing to be used on someone else. And now Julie's like, well, what twist? What if you could use it on yourself instead of someone else? Then you kind of feel like a jerk for using it on yourself, because suddenly it's like if there was a comp where they're like, would you give a homeless person $1,000 or yourself? And it's just like, you feel like a jerk, you know? So for him, it's like this, it's putting him in a position where he feels like, and then probably especially because it's a live episode, because even though they're always on camera, it probably feels even more so like you're on camera when it's live. Then you're put in this position where you feel like all eyes are on you, and they're like, are you going to use it on her, or are you going to use it on you?
Right, exactly.
And then it's like, oh, I guess I won't use it at all.
Yeah, so it was actually a very strange, like, when I had heard about this, and I think I did watch it, but I couldn't remember. And so then you hear the story like, oh, he made the dumbest mistake in Big Brother history. I thought it was going to come across differently. And as I was watching it, I was like, at first I wrote down, like, don't ever get comfortable in the house. Like, you should never feel comfortable enough to where you wouldn't use a veto on yourself, because that's where I thought it was going. But then watching it, that's not really, he still wasn't comfortable. He just didn't use it. It was, and so I think that there was a lot more at play, like we're talking about. There's something that was going on behind the scenes. It was either the time period, or because it was a twist, and so it was a little abnormal to be doing something like that for yourself. I don't know. There was definitely, I don't blame him as much as I think I have in just hearing the story, because he didn't use it, and he absolutely should have. But this season to me did not feel like a very cutthroat season. It felt like everybody was a little more kumbaya, kind of like what we're used to now. Like, they're all friends. I mean, so he leaves, so he gets voted out eventually, and Danielle votes him out, and she is bawling like her cat died. I mean, like, she is just like sobbing, and I was like,
felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, what it made me realize is, like, these people are very intense, very, very intense, and it actually did remind me of this season of BB22, because it was almost like too intense, where you're like, it's just a game, it's okay, like, everybody just chill. But so it was a very interesting episode to watch. Julie's interview, the very first thing she did was hit him in the head.
Yeah, it was so good. I screamed when I watched it. It was amazing.
It's so Julie Chen too. I love it. And this is when she was Julie Chen. So, and I liked in his interview that, I mean, he was very shaken. Like, I don't think he even remembers what he talked about in the interview.
Yes.
But he did he did say, and I actually rewound it and listened to it twice, but he came out of this with a sense of confidence. Like, he genuinely was like, I love myself. And I was like, that is a really nice thing to come away with.
It's funny that's what you took from it, because I wrote down Marcellus is both obsessed with himself and obsessed with how selfless he thinks he is.
Whoa.
I feel like he's like a narcissist that's like, I'm selfless. I'm the amazing because I don't think of myself at all. It's just me thinking about everyone else. And it's like, whoa, how much did you reference yourself in that sentence? It's like
It's like
that's what I
Christmas.
took from it, but I hope it was just self-confidence.
Huh.
But it did feel a little bit like he was like trying to pat himself in the back on TV. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
You're probably more right. I've been doing yoga, so maybe like my thoughts have
You're
just
a better
they're-
place
they're
general than
just-
me.
Yeah, they're just going to the more like, I'm sure he's just chill. Like, that's funny.
How amazing he loves himself. We should all be loving ourselves a lot more.
It's really funny. Well, I don't know about you. I don't plan. I stopped watching after that. I didn't watch the HOH comp because I was like, I've watched an hour and 15 of this. I'm done.
That's why I texted you. I was like, okay, I now realize there's an HOH comp after Marcellus leaves, and I'm not watching this. I
Yeah.
would say this season is, I mean, there were some things, it was so different in so many ways, like in production, so many production ways that it was really hard to watch. But then when I would see the little glimpses of things that were exactly the same, it was very exciting because, for one, like Julie's lines where she says like, she says, in the event you'd be sitting here with me tonight, the fellow house guests have taped, it's like
Yeah.
lines that have been literally exactly the same since this season.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, I think.
That is
there were
cool,
a couple
although
other
it-
things she said.
Although I will say, since she has been saying this since season 3 at least, like, why does she still flub them?
Yeah, I
Like-
don't know. And but she had a flub in this episode too. I forget what it
course she
was,
did.
but she like stumbled, and I was like, oh, there she is.
There she is.
Yeah, I mean, the ways that it was the same, the editing, it was just a period of time when reality TV editing was slower and different and less in your face.
Yeah.
But and like a little understimulating
Yes.
in ways that now it's totally overstimulating.
They did not
But-
use music to like intensify anything. It was just all emotion. It was all like
yeah, exactly.
like romantic emotion almost. Like, it was very odd.
It was. But then there were certain things though, like when they'd cut to a flashback, I was like, oh, that editing's actually the same, just slower, like they cut to like black and white when it's certain things that happen in like the prior eviction. And there were little things like that I was like, oh, that's really interesting. That's the same.
Did you
But
see
overall, it's tough to watch. I would say I'm amazed that the season that we watched previously was only like 3 seasons later.
they learned a lot, clearly.
They learned a lot. Yeah.
One of the editing things that I thought was really funny is Marcellus is, I think, in the backyard, and he's Danielle asks him like who he'd want to leave, or asks him a question like that, and they like superimpose, like it's on Marcellus' face, and then they superimpose the other two, like that's what he's thinking about right now, and I'm like, that is a weird way to edit, because you're literally putting thoughts in his head. Like, he might be thinking like fart and poop. Like, I don't know.
He doesn't know. Yeah, that was
It-
really funny. I kind of wish they'd bring back some of that cheesy editing. It was really silly.
It was an interesting episode to watch. I'm definitely not going to go back and watch season 3. But that episode, I think it was fascinating from like a scientific standpoint.
Yes. Yes.
But you know
and I did think it was interesting. I really like Danielle, and I think she's an interesting player. But I did feel like the only gameplay I heard in this whole episode was from Lisa, who ended up being, spoiler alert, the winner. And it was when she had one sentence that I was like, oh, there's the gameplay, where she was like, I want Marcellus to stay because I think he will go after Danielle and Jason and Amy, and not me.
Yeah.
And that in itself, there was the gameplay. And like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of gameplay I've been waiting for in this season too. And there's not a whole lot of people thinking like that. And then she won. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then I thought it was cool that Marcellus guessed that she would win in his exit interview.
I also
I always call it an exit interview.
I know.
I'm like, I have jobs in my mind. I'm
Yeah,
quitting jobs, starting jobs, and now I'm thinking exit interview.
it happens.
Is good. What is it called?
Oh my God, we talked about it last time, and now I don't know. It's
Well,
the
it's
eviction.
exit interview.
It's the exit interview. Whatever. Who cares? So yeah, it was a much more intense show. And that's what happened on your live feeds. No, I'm just kidding. That's what happened instead of your live feeds this week. You got anything else? Are you excited for tonight?
I am actually. I think that because it's been a different set of winners, and by that I mean one person winning both Veto and HOH this week who hasn't won before. It's just naturally because of that been a little bit more fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I cannot wait. I love that both Memphis and Christmas both think they're for sure staying. So
Yes.
either way, it's going to be at least some sort of a blindside,
Upset,
and that's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And who do you actually want to leave?
I want Memphis to leave.
Same. I really don't ever want to see Christmas on my screen again, but I think I even more don't want to see Memphis. And Memphis is too good.
Would rather Cody, Enzo, or Nicole win this game than Memphis or Christmas. And
Yeah.
with Memphis up there, I think he has a chance of winning.
Same.
And so I want him gone so that I think they all three stand a chance against Christmas, but I don't think they all three stand a chance against Memphis. So
If they keep Memphis, then they are that will be
So
the reason
stupid.
Cody doesn't win, right there.
yep.
If they keep Memphis, so I think that last night's episode was just editing to make it look like they're thinking about Christmas. Because if they are even thinking about getting rid of Christmas instead, they are so stupid. So
But, every week has been like this. So
I know, and you never
It's-
know what's gonna happen.
it's like, I don't know what it should be, what the motto should be besides expect the unexpected. It should be like, it's not expect the expected. It's just like, expect the most boring outcome is like the motto for this season.
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. Hang on, sorry, I gotta figure something out. God, I don't know. This computer is set up so weird. I can't see two things at once. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Sorry. Edit out. Edit out. Okay. All right. Are we done?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time today, Ellen. I appreciate your 5 things that maybe Memphis and Christmas were doing besides kissing. And I also appreciate that you think maybe they were kissing, even though there's no friggin' way. Thanks again for joining us here at House Meeting Podcast. Thank you, Ellen, of course, for joining me. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. We will talk again very soon. Tomorrow, in fact. We will see you at the next House Meeting. All right, we did it.
Sweet.
Cool. I thought that was good.
I thought it was good too.
They're always a lot longer than I expect them to be. Bye,
Yeah,
YouTube.
well, now that we have